Thanks to everybody who's logged in so far. We're going to give everyone just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. I see we have a few more folks trickling in, so we'll give it about 1 more minute and then we'll dive in. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Supercharge Social with Conversational AI. My name is Ben Waldron. I'm on the Sprinklr marketing team, and I'll be the moderator for this event. This webinar will last a little over half an hour, after which our two speakers will take questions from the audience. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please just use the question tool on your screen. One important housekeeping note, we're promoting today's webinar using the hashtag #SuperchargeSocial. If you learned something today that really resonates, and I imagine you will, I urge you to share it on social media using the hashtag, which again is #SuperchargeSocial. And one final thing before we begin, it's not too late to invite others to join us today. And if you have a colleague or friend who's interested but can't make it live, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand afterwards. Everyone who registered will receive a link to the recording. So with those formalities out of the way, I'd like to introduce today's speakers. With us is Yoli Chisholm, VP of Marketing at Sprinklr, and Christian Brucculeri, the CEO of Snaps. Yoli and Christian will tell you just a bit more about themselves and their respective companies, and then we'll dive right in. So with that, Yoli, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ben, and thank you all for joining us today. We are just as excited to hear from you as we are to share our thoughts on supercharging your social operation with AI. So please ask your questions in the chat box, as Ben said, and use the hashtag #SuperchargeSocial if you want to tweet a question or comment. As introduced, I'm Yoli Chisholm, VP of Marketing here at Sprinklr, where I manage demand generation and PR, and we are really honored to present alongside our partner, Snaps. Before we go further, I'm just going to take you through the agenda. We're going to go through the current state of social, and then go through the current state of conversational AI, and then practical steps for supercharging your social operation, and then talk a little bit about our partnership, and then take questions. Quickly, for those who may not be familiar with Sprinklr, we are a unified front office platform for the enterprise that enables organizations to market, advertise, research, and care for their customers across all modern social and messaging channels. It's our mission to enable every enterprise in the organization to make their customers happier. And one of our integrations is with Snaps. So Christian, please introduce our audience to Snaps.
Hi all, thanks Yoli, thanks Ben, thanks the entire Sprinklr team for having us, and for those of you who joined the webinar, thanks so much for giving me some of your time. So my name is Christian Brucculeri, I'm the CEO of Snaps, and Snaps is the leading conversational AI platform for enterprise brands. 4 years ago, we recognized that messaging apps were becoming the dominant platform for consumer engagement, and we set out to make messaging a fun, exciting, and scalable opportunity for brands and their business. We've been working with brands like Nike and Under Armour, Foot Locker, Live Nation, Pepsi, and dozens of other global brands as their partner and technology solution in this space. Back to you, Yoli.
Thank you, Christian. So let's dive into the current state of social. You know, we partner with a lot of organizations who are in the midst of transforming their companies. And like many of you in the audience, in one way or another, the evolution of social is really a discussion about digital transformation and the modernization of your businesses. The modernization of today's organizations initially began in the 90s with the evolution of the internal facing functions. The areas, for example, like supply chain management and workforce management, were impacting accounting, inventory, production, etc. What we believe we're seeing now is the evolution of the customer-facing functions in the area of revenue management with MarTech like CRM and marketing automation, and the area we're going to focus on today, customer management. We are essentially managing the transition from traditional to modern channels, impacting functions like customer care and commerce. As you all know, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, which is characterized by the fusion of technology and a blurring of the lines between physical and digital. Building on the digital revolution, representing new ways technology has become embedded in our society. Moving from traditional channels like the telephone and email to modern channels like social and messaging is what we'll look into today. This revolution away from traditional channels has given rise to the modern customer. With modern technology and modern channels, the modern customer behaves very differently. Traditionally, the customer would listen to the brand. Today, they listen to each other. We used to deliver one-size-fits-all content. Today, they expect you to know them and deliver personalized content. Traditionally, we used to be able to dictate the customer journey and the pace of the interaction. Today, the modern customers do not tolerate interruptions, and they want a seamless experience where their issues are proactively resolved in real time. They also expect to be able to engage with your brand on the channels, the time, and the place they prefer, not where we tell them to go. This change in behavior, has largely been driven by modern competitors and innovative companies like Airbnb and Tesla and Amazon, who have really capitalized on the growing ineffectiveness of the traditional channels. Shifting from the broadcast mentality and product centricity, which is slow and feature focused, to modern channels that are fast and customer centric, focused on customer needs. So organizations, really have to shift and modernize their front office. That is all the customer-facing functions like sales and marketing and advertising and customer care, which have traditionally been stuck in their own silos, lacking the right data and not having the connected infrastructure to meet the customers where they prefer. We all need to shift to modern customer-centric front office where our teams are enabled to make their customers happier with access to data that allows them to understand their customer, connect with the customer quickly, and on the channels they want. That infrastructure has to be unified across all business units so they all have the same degree, the 360-degree view of the customer. So the reason why AI and working with AI and machine learning becomes such an integral part of creating great experiences for customer is when you look at the task ahead for organizations, there has to be in place a way to provide your employees across the company the ability to connect with and manage the data, including conversations generated by 4.2 billion people who are online, 3.4 billion of whom are active social media users and are using 3 billion smartphones to send over 60 billion messages every day. And there is a whole generation that has grown up with completely different expectations who are now moving into their peak spending years, which means whether you are a B2C or a B2B organization, you have to be ready to care for these customers differently. You know, they want answers fast. They trust people more than companies. They want a personal experience, and they're ready to move on to your competitor and tell everybody about it if they don't like your experience. As you can see from the KPCB research, there's been a seismic shift. The number one way this generation prefers to make contact is with web chat and social media versus having to call you on the telephone or email. So Gartner notes that 89% of organizations are basically competing on experience. Yet there is a real dissonance and disconnect between what companies think about their experiences and what customers say. The data shows that 75% of customers expect a response within less than 5 minutes. And because they're spending so much time online, it's key that companies have a great chat and social experience. The data also shows that 95% of customers tell others about bad experiences, and 81% are willing to spend more for a better experience. And so the good news is that the opportunity with modernization is not only happier customers, but it's also good for business. At the end of the day, you know, if you look at this data, the data speaks for itself. If 50% of your customers prefer social customer service, as this Adweek research showed, then you stand to isolate 50% of your customer base if you haven't modernized and continue to evolve the modern channels. So next, I'm going to hand it over to Christian, who will take you through how modern messaging is evolving. The Snaps technology is integrated into our unified platform, which means that modern AI-driven and customer care is enabled across all business units, whether they're sitting on the social media team or the web marketing team or the customer service teams. We find that modern organizations are looking for modern customer-facing technology in customer care to reduce the cost of customer support. We all want to improve resolution times and reduce the risk of customer churn. So over to Christian, who will share some of the insights on the evolution in this area.
Thanks, Yoli. So at Snaps, when we started our journey 4 years ago, we knew messaging was going to become an important channel for brands and businesses, but we weren't sure exactly how it was going to evolve. And just to take everyone back to 4 years ago, none of the existing messaging applications were actually platforms. So you couldn't build applications on them. You couldn't plug in AI. You couldn't plug in any marketing. There wasn't really great ad products for them. And fast forward to today, and the space has become absolutely massive. So just between when we started our journey in 2015 and now, Facebook Messenger now has 1.5 billion monthly active users. There's actually an outdated stat 2 slides from now because Facebook recently updated their numbers, and they're seeing 10 billion messages sent between customers and businesses every month on that platform. We've seen WhatsApp open up its platform. We've seen Instagram Direct generate hundreds of millions of messages per month. Just last week, Mark Zuckerberg announced that the future of his entire platform is shifting from public sharing to private messaging, and that he's unifying the messaging services of Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook into one single platform. This is going to be game-changing for businesses. And on top of that, the continuing dominance of WeChat in China, the launching of Apple Business Chat on the iOS platform, and Google's investments in Rich Chat Service, or RCS, and also business messaging is becoming, this is becoming an impossible trend to ignore. But the question is, how can businesses scale their marketing and services operations to meet this new consumer behavior? The traditional marketers were used to, one-to-many broadcasts, starting with the TV and shifting to radio and moving to marketing email, and really that's largely that social evolved. Build a community and you can distribute a single piece of content out to a large group. Very easy to scale, and messaging is very challenging to scale. I think what we've found, or our view on this, is that the answer to scaling one-to-one personalized customer experiences and getting that to scale is going to be automation and artificial intelligence. And we've been seeing some brands investing in that space and getting some good success. And I'll walk you through a few of those use cases in this presentation. So I touched on this earlier, but we're starting to see that conversational AI is no longer an opportunistic investment. It's really becoming core to business operations for marketing and care teams. Today, there are over 300,000 bots in the Messenger platform. The second stat, as I mentioned, is actually outdated. Facebook recently reporting that 10 billion monthly messages are sent between businesses and consumers every month. That's a 4x increase year over year. So Q1 2018 to Q1 19, it's gone up 4x. And lastly, customer preference for automation, conversational AI, and chatbots is starting to show up. A recent survey saw an 80% rate of positive interactions with bots. And our belief is that, if conversational AI and automated conversations are intelligent, if they're purpose-built, and if they hand sessions off to humans at the right time, they really become like a shield of armor for a brand's care team. I'll talk a bit about some of the results we're seeing in coming slides. But you can really see huge benefits for leveraging this channel and by applying AI on top of it. And I think I mentioned the idea of handing off to humans at the right time in this, and that's why we're so excited about the partnership with Sprinklr, because we really feel that hybrid solutions that involve both human care teams as well as automation and AI are the way to win in the space. And brands that are investing in this in the right way have started to figure that out and are operationalizing it. So now I'll walk you through a few different life stages of the customer journey that you can use messaging for and conversational AI to drive business results for your brand. So it's a big space, and I think people talk about social as both a marketing and care initiative. And when we talk to a lot of our businesses, I'd say 50% of our customers really came from either social care or customer experience and customer care. And 50% of our customers are really on the advertising and marketing side, really trying to drive top of the funnel awareness, get engagement, drive consideration, and drive purchase. So I'm going to walk you through a few examples of work that we've supported with some of our brand partners that apply across that customer journey. We like to think of this as a pretty good cut, because if you can start with the business objective and where you are in this customer journey, it can really inform the way that you should apply conversational AI and the channels that you should use to apply it to get the results that you're looking for. So I'll start at the top of the funnel with awareness and engagement. For anyone new to this space, one of the shocking stats you'll notice straight away when you start to market or advertise is the epic level of engagement that you can drive in this channel if you leverage personalization and don't abuse it. One example of leveraging personalization to drive awareness on our platform that I love, and we did this in partnership with VaynerMedia and with Bud Light. So Bud Light was looking to drive awareness of its NFL sponsorship and its new team-specific cans. So to drive that awareness, they created a digital assistant that was really simple on the front end. And so it just asked customers to tell it who their favorite team was. And so consumers would come in and, I'm a Giants fan, I would just say the Giants. Bot would verify your location, and then it would go back in the background. And in the background, we built a custom data model with Vayner that matched a user's favorite team to the NFL game schedule, their local time, and the best delivery service that works nearby. And so throughout the 18 football season, 2 hours before anyone's favorite team played, they get a personalized message letting them know that kickoff was about to happen and asking them if they had any beer. And if not, they could push a button and Drizzly or Minibar would bring some to their front door. It was a great experience. Consumers loved it. But the real eye-popping stat in that campaign was that every time we sent those personalized messages, 85% of them were opened and engaged with in a positive way. And so if you leverage a channel and deliver personalized messages, you really can see eye-popping engagement rates. Another one that really kind of focuses on engagement, but really drives down to a commerce channel, is work that we've done with Live Nation. And so, Live Nation was looking for new ways for their site visitors to opt in to receive on-sale alerts, and they wanted to look at the messaging space. And they, previously had a few different channels to do this. There was an email and an SMS channel that were working fairly well, but they were looking to see if maybe plugging in Facebook Messenger to allow people to receive alerts when tickets went on sale would improve their opt-in rates on site, and improve the volume and the audience that they had inside the channel, and also improve conversion to sale. And what they saw when they put Messenger plugins on their website was a 5% opt-in rate from event page visitors. And so for every 100 people that would visit a pre-sale page, 5 of them would actually opt in to receive those results. And what's even more astounding is 17% of those people converted to sale. This resulted in a 400% increase in their active users on their Messenger channel, and it took them about 2 months to actually see that 4x improvement. So it really drove all their core KPIs right down to the bottom line. And we're continuing to expand our work with Live Nation based on the success of this. So talking about driving consideration, we have a number of CPG brands that we work with who have really leveraged messaging to create one-to-one relationships with their consumers. And I think for CPG brands, they've got a particular problem in that they don't own the relationship with their customer. And so they don't know a lot about their consumer behaviors, their customer insights. They can't really engage one-to-one in the same way that a retailer can. And one of Clairol's challenges is every time someone shows up at a drugstore, at a beauty shop, and they walk into the aisle, there are so many SKUs that a lot of their customers sort of get anxiety about the number of SKUs, and they call it in-aisle abandonment, right? So a consumer walks into the aisle and they abandon the aisle. They don't actually get anything. And so Clairol was looking to figure out a way to deliver one-to-one relationships with their customers, and also give them an opportunity to engage with and get some assistance when they're in store. But they couldn't put a Clairol representative in every Walgreens in the US, and so they leveraged Facebook Messenger. They put some call outs and freestanding inserts in a number of their retail locations, and we helped them build an AI-powered augmented reality interface. We integrated with their ModiFace service to help customers try on different SKUs before making a purchase in store. So this lives in Facebook Messenger, and you can access it in store. You can also access it on their website. And the whole goal of this assistant is to let people upload a selfie, and then we take it, we process it in partnership with ModiFace, and then deliver back what they would look like with different hair colors. And we've really helped them not only just build audience and engage with those customers on a one-to-one basis, but help alleviate that in-aisle abandonment KPI that they were really running at. So again, another good example of a CPG starting with a goal in mind, and then building a solution specifically targeted towards that goal, and getting some benefit and results. One use case that we're seeing extremely popular with retailers is what we would call guided selling. And so for a number of our retail customers, we see an opportunity for either gift guides or for an individual person to try to figure out what the right product is for them that's going to fit them, that's going to work really well for them or based on their personality, and or will be a good gift for a friend. And so, relatively lightweight way that we help Nordstrom get into this space was by launching a personality-based gift guide where, through a series of emojis and questions, we would map those emojis and question answers to products and product categories, using, integrating with the Nordstrom product feed. And we drove about 300,000 unique users in about 4 weeks. We saw 500,000 total sessions, so people who came in used it more than once, and we saw 74% click out to the .com. So this is a great way to take people from the top of the funnel and drive them all the way down that consideration stage, and then actually get them to convert and actually make a purchase online. And Nordstrom saw some great success, really with a campaign style activation. And I think there's another example of a lot of our partners, because this is both a care channel and a marketing channel. We see a lot of our partners build what we call the basics of the foundation. So FAQ automation, handoff through Sprinklr to a customer care agent. Really get the channel set up to handle the care side of things, and then layer on these marketing initiatives over time that really align with kind of their marketing calendar. So if they're doing 4 big campaigns per year, they can put that on top of the base level kind of always on customer service experiences they have. And we see that be a really strong success, the combination of both marketing and care. Another example of that, and we're down further in the funnel on loyalty and creating relationships. We've been working with one of the most forward-thinking retailers that we know of in Simon Properties. They're the country's largest retail center holding company. They own 215 retail centers, formerly known as malls, in the U.S. alone. And each of their centers has a knowledge base that's center specific. So what is true for Roosevelt Field Mall is different than Woodbury Commons, right? The answers to FAQs are different. They've got 215 different pages on the Facebook platform, and they were trying to figure out how they could possibly scale their customer experience operation to handle all the inbound inquiries that were site specific. And so we partnered with them, and they leveraged our off-the-shelf integration that we have with Yext to create location specific FAQs. And we see that 70% of their inbound customer service increase after we applied this were actually handled unassisted. So we reduced 70% of the volume that previously had to be handled by humans just by applying conversational AI. And what's more is that they use this as a marketing channel. And so when new stores are opening or when Santa's coming into the mall, Simon's able to leverage this channel to deliver personalized messages based on a customer's assigned location, whatever center is nearest them, and they see 85% open rates on those proactive messages that we send out. So they're seeing huge success on both the care side, again, as well as that marketing side, and sort of layering those both together. A more care specific use case that we did with a very large sports apparel retailer. They use the Snaps platform to test their hypothesis that AI would be fast, effective, and personalized by launching a digital assistant on Messenger, allowing customers to shop, but also to check the order of their status. So we commonly refer to this in the retail business as Wizmo, answer FAQs, and then when necessary, hand off a session to customer service. And after about 4 months of implementing and training that conversational AI, we were able to deliver a 50% reduction in average handle time, a 90% containment rate, so 90% of sessions actually not needing a handoff to a human agent, and 70% of free text-based FAQs were resolved on first contact. So you can really see how applying this, delivering historical data, if you've got historical chat session data, and actually training the AI, you can start to reduce your service volume by a tremendous amount. Another fashion retailer that we work with had a similar experience, that sports apparel retailer. It really kind of set up with their knowledge base. We took that and trained it against free text utterances and mapped those to intents and built out classes and spent some time really training their AI. And they saw after 3 months a 55% reduction in their inbound service volume. And so, the other benefit to this isn't that they were able to hire fewer, social media managers. They were just able to refocus those resources on offense, right? And so that social team went from playing defense and handling a tremendous amount of inbound service volume to offense, and they were able to spend more of their time on marketing-focused initiatives, on doing things like stories and working on their Instagram presence. And so, it really helps you reallocate a lot of your resources, and also, you're delivering great, always-on customer care, which is really what the modern consumer is looking for. And so we've seen a lot of success across the board. I think, as it relates to our partnership specifically with Sprinklr, the core area that we have focused on with our partnership is our custom handoff module that supports multiple channels. And so, as a business, you can leverage Snaps and you can leverage Sprinklr, and we have some off-the-shelf handoff solutions so that you don't have to rebuild your handoff protocol between those channels and your Sprinklr instance. For Facebook, we're leveraging a specific handoff between bots and a human using the Facebook Messenger handoff protocol. But we've developed a conversations API that we're able to leverage in order to support any channel. So web, SMS, WhatsApp, Apple Business Chat, Twitter, you name it. We've got Viber slated to be released next month with one of our partner brands. And so I'm gonna just quickly for 5 minutes just walk you through how that handoff works and what it actually looks like. And I use a Clairol example. As I mentioned earlier, we created an AI-powered augmented reality experience for them. But this lives on their website and in their messaging channels. So what happens if someone wants to speak to a care rep? So for Clairol, And there are a number of different ways to do this, but for this instance, we built a persistent quick reply that allows for that handoff called customer service in the welcome state. So when someone comes in, they can immediately get handed off to customer care. If someone hits customer service, we still might be able to automate a response for them. So in this case, we see if they're looking for FAQs, but if not, they can hit live chat and be handed off. So what I'm going to walk you through right now is, just to keep it simple, watching a user come into the Clairol Messenger experience. The user sees the welcome block. They click the customer service quick reply on that welcome block. They want to connect with a human by clicking live chat. The user inputs through our automation platform the reason for contacting customer care. And then that user is passed off to a live agent who will answer their questions and hand it back to the bot so that we can re-engage that customer with a CSAT survey or a product promotion or whatever. So here on the left, you're seeing that flow. So in the phone, you're seeing the user hit the customer service button and then live chat, and then they're putting in color advice as the reason for contacting. When that happens, you see a ticket flow into the Clairol Sprinklr instance. So you can see that on the right side on their web module. Now, if an agent expands the ticket, they can see the automated portion of the conversation above, and then an internal event in that thread noting that the conversation was handed off and the bot is now turned off. There is one more automated message that we send, and that's, you can set this for off hours or anytime. In this case, we're letting the user know that they were handed off and that someone will be with them when agents are back on during their on hours. So when the agent comes in, they can see on the left and they hit the private message button, and then they're able to write their response in that private message. And then when they're finished, you can instrument this in different ways, but this is a manual handback. So they're manually passing control by hitting the three dot button on the bottom right and hitting pass control. And so again, the user is assigned to an agent when they're available. Users will need a response, will be under assigned to me section of the dashboard. They'll click on private message to respond to that user. They'll reply to the user in the private message window. And after users' concerns have been addressed, they'll click on that three dot icon to pass on control to the Clairol Messenger experience, at which point we'll be back. And that's what that looks like. So it's fairly simple. We can instrument this in as quickly as 30 minutes. It often takes longer because we like to think through automation, and in some instances, if an agent doesn't manually pass back control, but they've been in an off state for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, often we'll reach in and take that session back so we can re-engage that customer through automation. And so that's what I have so far. That's kind of what the instance looks like. Those are the opportunities in market, whether you're trying to get drive awareness, engagement, consideration, commerce, or always on best-in-class customer care and social. We're really excited about our partnership with Sprinklr, and hope you got something out of our time today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Christian. This is how you can reach us. We're going to now transition over to questions. So Ben, what do you have for us?
All right, thanks, Yoli. First question we got is this webinar being recorded? It is indeed, and everyone who registered will be able to access it soon after it ends. Next question I want to get to is, this one's going to be for Yoli, and that is, could you provide context to the data that says customers expect answers in less than 5 minutes? Was that for social specifically, all channels including social, or traditional contact center channels?
Sure. So this actually came from a McKinsey study that was in an article on customer experience and creating value through transforming customer journeys. And the context was really on contact in the online space. So when they reach out online, they expect to have a response in under 5 minutes. And it's really this whole notion of, a class of customers who expect this now service, and they characterize it as within 5 minutes of online contact.
Great.
That's helpful.
Thanks, Yoli. This one's for Christian. Has Snaps worked with either financial services or insurance companies?
Yes, we've worked with a number, both what you consider sort of the more traditional institutional insurance companies and financial services, as well as some disruptors in the space. And we've worked on both social care automation use cases for them, as well as marketing and acquisition. And so, we're close partnerships with the Facebook Messenger team, and have been working on some new initiatives around lead generation and passing qualified leads on through click to messenger ads and into a messenger thread. So yeah, I'd be excited to educate anyone with that question on what we're doing there.
Fantastic. And another one, I think, initially for you, Christian, is can you pull conversations from a Facebook wall into a messenger experience using automation?
Sure. Yeah. So Facebook does support that. It's a great feature. It's I would observe probably underutilized by most businesses, and so you're able to actually take a wall comment to a specific post and automate a response that would drive that conversation into a private one-on-one channel in Messenger.
Cool. I think, Yoli, this one's probably more for you, is how do brands balance the need to provide fast, automated care with the simultaneous need to provide experiences that are authentic and human?
Sure. I think that's probably a lot of the challenge that big brands worry about. The beauty of having AI is that you then get a lot of insights around, what are the most common questions. When I was working with Microsoft, for example, they found that one of the most sort of common care issues with respect to Xbox was that the Xbox actually hadn't been turned on. And so they were able to hand that question of, is your Xbox turned on, to the bot, and were able to sort of balance out, challenges that agent needs to handle with a challenge that the bot can easily handle. And then I think for the brand is just maintaining that voice. And I think if you've done a good job to leverage the insights to give the bot FAQs that they can easily handle, then the agents are able to handle the more complex challenges. And because you have on the Sprinklr platform the ability to hand off between the bot to a human agent, you're able to kind of balance that out.
Thanks, Yoli. We've got a few more questions coming in. These are great. This would probably be immediately for Christian, but I think you could both possibly weigh in. What upfront work is involved in setting up a chatbot in Sprinklr?
Sure. So to give the economist answer, it really depends. And so we've got an FAQ automation up in about 48 hours. And that's a really, it depends on where your knowledge base is and how integrated it is and how much training you want to do before you launch. I would say that implementation times, and then in some cases where, with account management, so if you want to do things like change an order or, return something or find out, how many rewards points you have, things that require, authentication, they can take significantly longer because we're integrating directly with the CRM system. And so, I would say anywhere from 2 days to 4 months, depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Great. Here's another one. This webinar was focused, very product focused, but do you have any stats or anecdotes about using a chatbot for a nonprofit advocacy organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm assuming that this is Christian. So that's a great question. We have done some work with nonprofits. So we partner with Facebook on supporting a nonprofit called Facing Addiction, which is really focused on the opioid epidemic, and that experience typically brings somebody through a customized and personalized onboarding flow to try to qualify them out, to give them the right type of help. So the onboarding session is really it's almost a routing session. So somebody comes in and through a series of questions is giving a very specific set of advice. And that execution has gone, engagement is very high. We see the same types of stats and metrics that we see on brands. So we're seeing good results, and we're seeing a lot of nonprofits leverage this to meet their specific business problems.
Great. More of a housekeeping question here. I would love to share these slides with our team. Will you share the presentation with the attendees? I know the recording will go to the attendees. I think the slides will as well, but just to be safe, if you'd like to get the slides, just contact one of us directly from the contact info slide. Let's see here. Is that one up actually? Yep, it's the slide that's currently up. Just feel free to shoot an email to either of those addresses. We'll make sure we get you those slides. And then the final question here, and this is for both of you, is the Snaps and Sprinklr integration live, and does it need any customization depending on the customer? And if so, what is the typical duration?
Yep, it is live for Facebook Messenger. We can turn that on within 30 minutes. Okay, so the ease of leveraging it is dependent a little bit on which Sprinklr instance you're using. So if you have case management, it works much easier. And there are a couple of other nuances, but the handoff protocol is live. And if you're doing a single channel and have a relatively simple use case, you can have it up and running in an hour.
Yeah, and as Christian alluded to, it really depends on how sophisticated you want to, an infrastructure you want to build. Things like an integration with CRM and also being able to pull the data so you have that 360-degree view across all of your business units. That's a different level of sophistication. But yeah, we're live, and feel free to contact us if you want to learn more.
All right. Big thanks to Yoli and Christian and to the Snaps team. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. A few quick reminders: we'll be sharing this on demand after the recording ends. And I also urge you to check out sprinkler.com/events to see our archive of past on-demand webinars and see what we have coming up. Again, a big thanks to our speakers and to our audience for joining. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.